there, welcome to our channel. I'm Vic.
I'm Nick.
And we're NV Board Gaming. And today we're looking at Dawn. This is a game designed by Taylor Hayward and published by Green Meadow Games. It's for 2 to 5 players. Nick is going to go through how you play, and then we're going to give our review.
Welcome to the table. We are set up here for a 4-player game of Dawn. Dawn we can be a hidden traitor in this game. This is a game where you decide if you're going to be an ally or a scoundrel. So it is not like other deduction type games where you are assigned that role and it is hidden. You actually get to decide. And the way you're doing that, I'm going to explain. So we're set up for the 4-player game here, which the only difference in that is a certain number of these tiles are removed based on player count. And it means we get 6 of these cards that come out, 6 of these tiles. If it were a different player count, it would have different. So in the rules, it says for a 3-player game, you get to place 5 out, 4-player game 6, which we have here, and a 5-player game 8. This game does play 2-player as a variant as well. So 6 tiles out here. We're going to have 9 cards in our hand. So 7 will be dealt to us, and then we have these 2 wound cards, which act as kind of diminishing your deck of cards. So everyone's going to have 9 cards, 2 of which are wounds, and 7 are the random cards. So we'll take a look at these cards. On your turn, whoever's the first player is going to go first, and they're going to play as many of these cards as they would like. Generally, you're probably going to play all of them. And these are multi-use type cards, and you can see there's symbols at the top left that give you actions or required symbols, and these treasure chests. So they're going to be used different things. We have a little cheat sheet that shows one of the options of these cards. So you could play on buildings, great buildings, or threats. Threats have these symbols down here, and they'll have something that potentially negative could happen to you. So if we want to address, we'll go over the first one. We'll actually go over the spy card first. We could look at a card by spending this as a symbol, as this eye symbol, to be a spy. Discard this card, and you can look at one of these right here. So if you wanted to see, oh, what would this, if we did not address this threat right here, what would happen to us? So I spent that card, I would take a look. Destroy the lowest cost building. So I am going to want to take care of this. Me and my teammates, supposedly teammates. So as a turn, before any of that happens, before any card's played, we're actually going to discard 1 card to our storehouse. Any of these cards except the wounds. So it has to be one of these cards. So you're incentivized. If you want to play as an ally, you're going to want to discard cards that have these negative, perhaps, because they do not help with achieving buildings that require a positive score in those chests. And also, it determines that if you're an ally or a scoundrel. To be an ally, by the end of the game, you're going to have 7 or less than 7 chests in your storehouse. If you want to be a scoundrel, you're going to want 7 or more. Because the winners of the game are going to be determined if you meet a certain threshold based on player count. So in this case, a 4-player game, we need 120 points. Then the allies will win. If we get less than 120 points, whoever has the most treasure and is a scoundrel will be the winner. That's kind of what that's determining. So let's just say I'm going to play as an ally, and this was my choice completely, and I'm going to discard this card. Okay? Now this is my hand of cards. So, like I said, I could reveal that. I could discard that and reveal it to see what's going on here. I let my team know, hey, this is a threat we want to address. Okay, how do I address it? Well, I could help. I could say I'm going to put 1 card face down here, and I'm going to claim that I'm helping. I don't necessarily have to be telling the truth, but I put a card face down there. And I can keep playing. So other cards, that one was helping it with a threat. However, I could play this card for its action. I went over a spy card. If I want to play an attack card, it won't help in this situation, but I can secretly look at 2 cards on the great building of my choice and discard one of them optionally. So that would be if I thought there was a traitor among us, a scoundrel, I would look at 2 cards and discard one, hoping that they're not trying to get rid of cards that might ruin this for us. So that's what these do. But instead, I'm using it for this purpose of going for a threat. Heal cards. I need 3 of these heal cards to remove a wound. And I can do that from my hand of cards, one of my wounds, Or I can take one of my teammates and say, hey, you can remove a wound from your hand because I'm discarding these. And these go face up into a discard. And if it was me, I would just go ahead and lose this wound. So it helps me throughout the game. I only have one wound now. And these are considered wild, these coins right here. So again, you have the coins and the chest. And then you have these wild cards. So I went over all three of these if you want to use them as their actions. If not, you could play these out. Here, since they're negative, they won't help with buildings. So I would not play them there. But I could help with a threat because these are wild. They don't cost the treasure chest. They cost this symbol. So I could put 2 here, or I could help because I know this one's bad. I don't know if these 2 are bad. So right now I can put these here and act as if they are these attack swords. So then my turn is done. I don't have any more except for a wound. I can't play a wound to anything. So that would be my turn, and the next player would go. We go a whole round, all the way around the table, till all 4 players have had the turn, and then we're going to reveal what's going on. So I'm going to play some cards out on these so we can show how things resolve. So let's say that was played here. Let's say that was played here. And we're going to say here, 4 cards. Put a couple out here. Let me grab some other ones. Just show an example. Get a good variety here. Okay. So let's say these were the cards that were out after all 4 players have gone. We do not reveal these. These great buildings right here, they will be revealed at the end of the very last round. This game is played for 6 rounds. The 6th round being a little different because there are no buildings out here. We are just focused on these. But the first 5 rounds, we were focused right here and here. So we would first take a look at, and it tells you this right here. Let's see. Buildings are resolved, then threats. So we're going to look at the buildings. In this case, we only addressed one building. We only looked at one building, not that we succeeded. Shuffle these up. Anytime we're going to look at cards, we shuffle them up so we don't know exactly who is a scoundrel, if they are. And we'll take a look. We need 10 chests. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9. So we went well over. We have 14 chests here. We only needed 10. So in this case, we can reveal, and we're going to get 6 points. So that ratio isn't that great, but we do get 6 points. It's going to go over here. We know we have that banked. No one can take that away. Now, if there were negatives here, obviously we would be subtracting that. I mean, there's probably a scoundrel among us. They were trying to lower our chest count. So that one's done. And now we do threats because the other 3 were threats. So we'll take a look at this one. These are all wild, so we succeed. Again, we do not care about these negative chests because it's not a building. So we don't care about this. We're not going to even show it. It goes away. We took care of that threat. Next, we had 4 here. That was one we went for. And we succeeded. 3 wilds and a sword, so that's 4. So we're not going to reveal that. This is discarded. We didn't address it, so we're not going to get points. This is discarded. We're not going to get points. And we have this threat right here. And we need 4 of those. We did not get it. We had 3. So somebody betrayed us probably because this did not help us at all. So they may have said, all right, I took care of it at the end, and they didn't. So we only got 3. So this threat actually does get us. So we will reveal it, and we're lucky. The allies are lucky because this is a card that says nothing happens. So whoever was a scoundrel did not pay off for them because nothing happened to us anyway. This card is good as discarded. Again, we do not take a look at any of this. And then we do starting a whole nother round. The first player marker passes to the left, and the same process will come out. We'll have 6 new cards that come out. Right there. 6 new cards. You can see there's another threat that gets those spy cards. We haven't looked at that, but it's going to work the exact same way. It just needs spy cards to be resolved, or wild cards. One thing I will mention is that wild cards do not play as wild cards up here. Those coin cards. You can see there's actually a spot, this building here, where those wild cards aren't needed. and it will give you 4 points per ability. This one, the spy cards are needed, and it will, for the scoundrel, they can put in these coins and these heal cards to mess with you. So they're going to be removing things. Remove one of those for every one of those. So scoundrels have options to bring our numbers down. However, if we accomplish it by the end and we have those 10 spy cards, we're going to get 30 points. The allies will get 30 points. 10 points per ally without a wound. That can be something you go for, and it just needs those heals to build. However, attack cards will hinder you. And then 18 of those treasures. By the end, you should have, unless you get a promo, you should have 5 of those or 6 of those cards in your storehouse. And that will determine if you are a scoundrel or an ally, as I said. We would reveal it. In this case, I have a bunch of negatives, so I'm definitely an ally. I'm not hoarding treasure. That will determine if I won or lost. If the allies win, we win together. If we lost, then we check to see who the scoundrel is, or if there's multiple, and whoever's of those scoundrels who has the most treasure hoarded in their storehouse. And that's the gist of how you play. We're going to go back up top and give our thoughts on this one.
All right. Thank you, Nick, for the overview of how you play Dawn. This review is going to be a little bit different than our standard review because this being a quicker sort of card game, we're just going to focus on our pros and cons and then deliver our score.
Yeah. In the recent videos, we've changed it up where we're doing like bullet points, but that might be a little too long-winded for this type of game. So we'll start with our pros as we used to.
Mm-hmm.
Pros, it has a good look to it.
Yeah.
The box is really nice. The production looks good.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of the cards, like I think the threats especially have great art compared to the buildings. For some reason, I think the threats, I don't know if it was two different artists or what it was, but I like the way the threats look, especially. The thickness on the cards, now it looks good, but that part could be a negative as well.
Yeah, when you were asking me to count my cards, I sometimes didn't know how many I had.
It's hard to get them like, I don't know, it's just hard to pass them out and stuff. It's like there's just almost too high quality. It has a cheat sheet, always good, enough for every player.
Mm-hmm.
The rules are very simple. I could explain it very quickly.
Yeah.
When I brushed you up on it, it was like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I could teach it so easy. A cool concept is this game has things that unlock. I didn't explain the rules, but the more you play it, the more of these tiles you might get. I've only opened one of them so far.
That's cool.
But the more you play it, we have conditions here that if you accomplish something 3 times, and you can see I have an X there that says I've done it once. We've done it once.
Yeah.
So we'll reveal things as this game goes on as well. I think this game has really cool elements, the way you're playing your cards.
Yeah.
I enjoy that a lot. I enjoy going for things, working as a team, one round, and things are resolving quickly. You don't have to wait the entire game for everything to resolve. Every round, you're resolving 6 things, up to 6 things.
Yeah.
When you're playing at 4 players, and I think that's really enjoyable. What do you think is your favorite attribute about it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I found myself really having to think about spending all the cards, putting them all down, and what's the best way to do that, and work with everybody to ensure that you're gonna be successful. But then you, at the back of your mind, don't know for sure. And then the fact that the game can change, and you don't start off as a trader, you don't start off as somebody that's hoarding. Like you're given a bad role, and it's nice that you can kind of decide when it's time. Like I'm gonna try to, I don't think we're gonna win as a team. I'm gonna be the sole victor.
That's an innovation to me.
Yeah.
Because the way you're doing that is on your own accord. You're discarding cards, and you can trade them. So like Vic is saying, you can change your mind mid-game because you can trade those storehouse cards 1 for 1. I didn't explain that in the rules. I just gave a general overview.
Yeah.
But when you're discarding those cards, you can look and later you have 5 cards, let's say, and you can change your mind completely. Now that could be very suspicious if we thought that you were an ally and you just traded 5 cards. You may have just turned scoundrel on us, but you can do that. You can trade your 5 cards, get rid of them, and take the 5 that were in your storehouse.
Mm-hmm.
So that is innovative. That's a way to do that. That's a way to make your own decisions of what team you're on, as opposed to being assigned that team. Yeah. So I tend to like multi-use cards, things I can use as an action, things I can use to deliver a contract of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's cool. Yeah, those are quite a few positives.
I will also add that I like that the cards, when he talks about multi-use, that you can use them to have an ability. If you play like 3, you're going to heal a wound. And you're trying to maybe help others. You might want to heal their wound when the time is right. The chests being negative and then plus chests on different symbols of the cards makes
Spying
you
on
think.
cards.
Yeah, spying, deciding on which one to look at. And it's not always the same that, oh, if you see one that requires a lot of a large threshold to meet, that means it's going to be a good reward all the time. It
Right.
doesn't mean that.
No.
No spoilers, but it doesn't mean that. So there is a real use of spying. It's not just like, okay, we know every time we kill this thing. I mean, maybe if you played enough and you got crazy and you memorized every line of every card, I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, really fun. I think it's fun.
Yep. All right. Some things that we can be aware of, perhaps negatives. For me, I think I would consider house ruling this, because as clever as you deciding what you're going to be is, I kind of want like a Shadows over Camelot style, where if you're playing 4 players, maybe there's 5 or 6 cards, and one of them is a scoundrel.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of prefer that because we've played a couple times and nobody went scoundrel on us, and we just won. And sometimes you get involved with a cooperative nature, and it's fun, and nobody wants to really turn on the teams. Now they're a part of the team, they're invested, they want to see this through and win.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody, it depends on your group. It's going to be very group dependent. So I feel like I can house rule it if I feel like we have a group that's probably going to go play it by the books. And then if we don't have a type of group, then there's like a couple wild cards in there, a
Then
couple
you leave,
friends.
yeah.
Then you can just play it how it was designed.
Right.
So, and that's going to be up to you. I think the designer would probably agree with that. It's going to be up to you feeling it out. But yeah, I don't see why you couldn't. The game would work the same. Just it would determine what you're getting rid of a little more than otherwise. But really, that is really the big thing for me, because when we all, it was clear that we were all allies. When that was clear, we demolished the game. We had to get 120, and we had well over 200.
Yeah.
So that's a flaw if you play it like that. So that's something that can be rectified by the person that owns the game, by the person that would be a game master in the group and make that decision. That could be rectified.
Right. Yeah, but I don't think, it's so bad to annihilate a game and destroy it with the biggest score you can get ever.
You don't think it's bad?
That's fine.
Okay. It's anticlimactic,
Oh.
because that last round was like,
you were going through the motions, I suppose. Yeah, I can see what you mean, but I don't know. Huge scores are cool.
Or you could just up the scores if you want to play it.
A threshold, yeah, you get more challenging.
Yeah, you could do it that way, where it's like, okay, if we all end up being allies in a 4-player game, you need to get at least 200.
Yeah, if we're all on the Dawn circuit and we're all playing Dawn in tournaments every weekend.
There's ways to get around it, because the core mechanism is so good.
Yeah.
Of playing those cards for their actions, their abilities, or as helping with the group to accomplish certain goals, be it buildings, great buildings, threats, and working together, saying, "Hey, if you can take a peek at that, because I don't know if we should put resources to that if it's not really going to do anything for us."
Right. No, it's neat.
There's good discussions in this game, so I feel like it does have that flaw to me of the way we just annihilated it.
But it's rectified.
But it is rectifiable for sure. All right, I think we're good for scores.
Yeah.
Go ahead and start us out.
Okay. My score for this game is high. It's a 7.7. 7.7. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I like working together towards things, and I'm waiting on a scoundrel.
You got to see how it plays with a scoundrel. We haven't had the chance, so that's how it's going to be.
The allure.
Yeah. So we haven't had that chance, and that was my only real criticism. It's a nice small box size, which is important for us.
Yeah.
For a card game, you don't want a huge box.
No, it's so annoying when they have all the tray insert. That's the word. Insert, and it's one deck like Thunder and Lightning. Come on.
Thunder and Lightning is that big box though.
Could be bigger, I guess.
Yeah, like Santa Monica.
Yes, okay.
That's what I was thinking. A big box of that.
Yeah.
All right, pretty similar to Vic. 7.5. 7.5. It's for the flaw that I have. It's something that you can address. I don't feel like, oh man, we have to really, do very
go out
much
of our way to address
to do something the way we like it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I noticed that, and I could be misreading the rule, that there seemed to be a solo way to play it. However, in the rules it said 2 to 5, but it said 1 ally. So maybe that means an ally threshold. So maybe if you're playing 2 players and one person's a scoundrel, that your ally score needs to be 30. The way I read it, it looked like you can play it solo, but I don't think you can. I think what it was trying to say in there was that if you have 1 ally, they need 30 points to win. Because I just see the way that the rules were written on the little cheat sheet, that was kind of threw me off. Like, oh, you can play this solo?
Yeah.
I think that's what they're getting at. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But there you go. We're in the upper 7s then.
Yeah, we like it a lot.
There you go.
Let us know in the comment below if you have played a nice small box card game. If you've played Dawn, share your thoughts on it. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more great reviews. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.